Welcome everybody to Perpetual Backlog Podcast, your gaming podcast that talks about video game news, video game adjacent stuff, and just everything video games. That's all we do. I'm your host, like always, Aqua, and joining me, like always, is our capybara that's always bored, Dalit.
Hey, I'm here. Don't know I'm bored this time though.
Well, your picture always looks like you're bored. So, and our pizza monger, Leak.
I did have pizza this weekend.
Excellent.
I did. It was lots of jalapeno on it. Yum yum yum.
Yum, 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 yum. Yeah, I had pizza yesterday. Actually, I had pizza yesterday.
Very good.
Yeah,
I have
shitty frozen pizza.
So long.
Shitty frozen pizza, but yeah. So this is gonna be a pretty long first part. So we're gonna go with the leak first. What did you do this week?
I played Final Fantasy XIV many a time on my spare time. Mainly doing roulettes. That was very good indeed. I actually dossed around in the Gold Saucer too, doing some gates. The Slice of Life? I don't know what it is. That one with Yojimbo.
Yojimbo.
That's all my that's my favorite. Yeah. Well, Air Force One's very good too. Many people are currently in Gold Saucer trying to get enough Gold Saucer points anyway for the Final Fantasy 15 mount, the car.
Oh, is
that's
it there
back on
permanently, or is that just during the event?
No, the event's up again.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, I can't be bothered, so I'm not doing that. But
Yeah, I got mine the first time.
Yeah, hey. I think that's it really for me. I played a little bit more of Wilderness.
Still enjoying it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't.
I'm gonna have to get you to show me that at some point because it sounds really interesting, and I wasn't able to find it on my own because I'm bad.
It's on it's on Steam. You just type in Wilderness.
Got it.
Lay Steam.
You're welcome.
You didn't go to DJ Shion's birthday party?
No, I was really trying to get some work done besides that. So, yeah. I just need to do a game map now. I'm making a Star Wars game map. It's cool.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, it's for a private thing, not actually Star Wars. Because LucasArts, if you want to hire me, that'd be cool. But no.
Please, Lucasfilm Games, please hire the illustrious Leak.
Well, Skywalker Ranch is really close to where I am, and I'm trying to weasel my way in there. So,
you think Lucas even has anything to do with Star Wars anymore?
Oh, minimally. I think it's all legal, all on the legal side.
Every month he wakes up, I have my Star Wars check.
Hey guys, don't forget to sub to the channel if you're into what you're hearing. While you're down there, remember to like the video as much as we like you. You'll be good now.
Ooh, actually, like Steven Spielberg. Spielberg gets a Star Wars check because he had a bet with Lucas that Star Wars wouldn't be as big as a movie as the movie that like Spielberg was working on at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So them had a bet for like a percentage of royalties for like each individual movie, and Spielberg won out of that one. Or like it was vice versa. It was vice versa.
What was his movie?
It was a bad movie. It was like one of those movies. It came out around the same time as Star Wars 1, or like Star Wars 4, technically, I guess. It was vice versa. So like Spielberg bet that Star Wars would be better than the movie that he was working on, and Lucas bet that his movie would be better than Star Wars.
Okay, this now makes more sense to me.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, Spielberg gets a lot of money every now and then because Star Wars royalties. I think it's like 10% too, which is pretty. It's a pretty hefty sum.
Not that's so much.
I mean, either way, 1% of fucking Star Wars royalties is a hefty sum. So like,
yeah, that would still be massive.
But yeah, that's a bit of funny news. So Dalit and I did a thing this week.
We sure did.
We well, Dalit had to do multiple things because his trophy wouldn't proc, and he had to keep going through a cutscene like 12 billion times. And by that I mean 3. We platinum Tales of Arise this week, which means we've pretty much done everything in it. Not 100%, but who really does that in video games? Man,
there are people out there who are angry at you for even assuming they wouldn't.
yeah, I know. I don't even have all the skills and skill panels. I was like, there's no point. I'm level 100. There's no point. I don't need the extra attribute. This is a video game.
This is in fact a video game. My goodness.
It's a very good video game, and we're gonna talk about this. This will be very spoiler heavy. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes that simple for me.
I will.
And I will just say I don't mind spoilers, so because this would be a very awkward episode if it did.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, so I get to go. Ooh, interesting.
I will put up a time, or I'll lay a time in the description for people to go to, if you do not want Tales of Arise spoilers. And that will be starting 3, 2, 1. Now, thank fucking God they kissed at the end of this video game.
It was very important to Aqua.
If they didn't, I was going to be so fucking mad.
Oh, there's a smooch. Yay.
There's a good smooch too. It was...
Yeah.
Yay.
God, there'd been so much it's gonna happen for like... I swear, it began at the very beginning of this game.
No, they had so much sexual tension between each other from start 1. It was ridiculous.
From go.
Oh, nice slow burner then. Good.
Yeah, just
slow burners
87
the game.
hours.
Slow burners the game is what it is.
Yeah.
You're gonna realize that is a theme.
So, premise of this video game is there are 2 worlds, Donna and Rena. Donna is subjugated by Renan law, or rule. They are made slaves because Renans are superior, and that's pretty much their thought process of it. You are
Renans have the technology. They can.
Renans have
It's ruled by force.
Yeah.
The Donnans just don't have the capability of fighting back.
Yeah. Renans have starships and all that jazz. You start out as a Danon slave who has no memory of himself, doesn't have a face technically because it's been in a mask for God knows how long, which you find out later on, and he is just known by Iron Mask. He also cannot feel pain whatsoever. So like one of the first scenes is that he stands in front of a blade hitting him because it was the Renan was going to hit a kid. So he stands in front.
Let's not paint them as a monster yet. We'll get there. It was a baton.
Okay, it was a baton. All right. I mean, it was a very large baton, and it made him bleed.
Big suit of armor.
Anyway, so you're this guy. Nobody knows who he is. He's just Iron Mask. He's just a slave. And then one day he runs into a lady who he doesn't know is a Renan yet, who's running away from Renans specifically on a train. And so he helps her out, runs into, and runs, by run into, I mean, Zephyr, who is part of a resistance, jumps down and is like, hey, what's up? Come with me. And then they're interrogating her, and your character realizes that she's a Renan because she has a surname. So Danons do not have surnames. They're just called Alphen or Zephyr or whatever. But this one is Shion Imaris, and she's a Renan who is trying to betray Renan by going around and killing all of the lords. And you get attacked. She gets shot in the chest. And then a gigantic pillar of fire comes out of her chest. And for some fucking reason, Alphen just decides, maybe I should grab this flame. Maybe something like, is cool. And so he grabs the flame, and it turns into a flaming sword, which he then uses to murder all of the Renans that are in the area. It's very very nice scene. And then they're like, "What the fuck?" And then you go and help with the resistance in Calaglia, and you go to fight the first boss, which is everybody calls him Ballsax, but his name is Balsef. It's Balsef, or it's actually
Did not hear
some
that
weird.
correctly.
No, you heard the joke first. You did.
No, you
All
heard
right.
the joke
Correctly.
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
His real name is some weird fucking name. It's like Aravrisel something, and but his nickname is Balsef, and he would like to be called the Wild Beast.
None of which is important, by the way.
Yeah, none of which is important at all. Yeah, you fight him, you beat him, and then he runs away, and then some gigantic fucking fire monster comes out and fights with him. And so you fight him, and Alphen uses the blazing sword, sucks up all the astral energy that the big fire monster has, and then destroys the wall that is separating the place that you're in now, which is Calaglia.
And then boom, smash cut to the intro.
Yeah, smash cut to the intro.
So good.
It's a very good intro. No, smash cut to intro 1.
I'm sorry, you're correct. Smash cut to the original intro that we knew about.
Yeah. And so your premise of the story is that you're traveling around with Shion. She's wanting to kill all of the lords of Rena. For some reason you don't know. And your next thing will be the next in Cislodia. You go there, you meet Rinwell. Who is a caster, a Danon caster actually, which is weird for everywhere because Danons can't use astral art. And then you meet Law, who ends up being Zephyr's son. And Zephyr gets captured. You go to try to save him. He gets put up as to be executed, and then you do save him. And then then you kill Ganabelt. You go to the next area. You get Law and Zephyr dies. Zephyr does die, and Dalit is very sad that he does.
I'll get to it later when he's finished.
You fight Ganabelt, you beat Ganabelt, you go to the next area, you meet Kisara, who is a Danon soldier. Or not a Danon, she's a Danon guard for the Lord of the next area, which is Menancia. And then you meet Dohalim, who he's like saying, hey, Danon and Renans live here together in peace. And he doesn't want you guys to like try to fuck that up. And then some fucked up shit happens. You realize that Dohalim realizes that somebody's fucking around behind his back in this area. And you have to fight Dohalim because he goes crazy for a second. And then you fight you fight a monster who's being controlled by the guy that's actually behind this area. You beat him, and then Dohalim and Kisara formally join your party. You move on to the next area, and it's just a repeat cycle of this until you get to the fourth Lord. And then after that is when the second opening happens. This is the part where me and Dalit thought the game ended.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I was about to have all kinds of bad words to use.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah. And then I didn't know I had bloody 40 more hours left.
Yep. Then the game from here turned. This is where we get the second opening, which is also a good opening. And this game goes from being a Tales game to being Metal Gear Solid 4, where you have more cutscenes and more dialogue than you do gameplay. Because you get pretty much shuttled around from one area to the next area, until you come up to the idea that you need to go to Lenegis, which is a satellite moon above Dana, where the Renans are primarily located at, apparently. And to get down to the bottom of what's been going on, because when you beat the final lord, you get some fucking weird ass lady comes up and steals the thing that you were trying to put together, and then fucks off, and so you have no idea what the fuck's going on. Which is actually, were you weirded out by the red lady?
No, I've played Nier, and I've watched things with other little girls in red in them. I understood what was happening.
She was just like, it's the eyes is the problem, because she had to like pitch black eyes.
They're pitch black. It's like seeing a horror villain.
Yeah. This game goes from Tales to MGS4 / Star Ocean. And I made the joke a couple of times that this is the best Star Ocean game we've had since 2003, because that's when
You're probably not wrong.
because that's when Till the End of Time came out, and that's the last actual Star Ocean that we've gotten. So you go to Lenegis, you learn some shit, and then you get taken to this other satellite base, which is like a little bit far off from Lenegis. And from this point of view, you can see that Rena isn't actually a planet. It's part of a planet, and the rest of it is like blown away, doesn't exist. And so you learn that Renans actually aren't Renans; they are actual Danans that have been modified to use astral arts. Which throws in the whole man. The racism in this game was real up until the point where everybody actually isn't racist, because they're all the same. It's just racist against each other. You learn all that, and you are told to go fight the Great Spirit of Rena, which is the actual like orchestrator behind all of this. Then you go to the Rena finally, which is actually just a gigantic ocean of goop. Go through its dungeon, fight the Great Spirit of Rena, and then everybody kisses, because they have to make a pair in this game. Everybody's a pair in this
I didn't
game.
hate that though. I think they worked for it. I think they used all 600 bloody skits for it.
I can agree with you on this one, but like I can also agree that I don't feel like they should have done that, because it feels like they thought that their characters weren't good enough to stand on their own.
I don't think that's what they thought. Oh god. Oh, not with the amount of writing they did. I genuinely think they just wanted a fairy tale ending.
I don't know. This was coming from Evan, because Evan's like he's an English major and everything, and he says that usually when people do that, it's when they don't think the characters can stand on their own.
Yeah, because it's stronger to write them as a pair, and I think that's true in a lot of situations. I don't necessarily think that's true for the main party, though.
Man, I don't know. Like, okay, Alphen and Shion, that was like natural. I felt like that was extremely natural.
Let's get there when we get to the characters. So you've just done a pretty in-depth jump into the story. So let's continue on that for just now, because oh boy, there's so much to talk about, and we will be talking in circles if we just go off on tangents.
You got a point you want to?
Sure. No, I think the story's fine. I think it's a bit long, but that's definitely a me thing. But it's super coherent, and once you get to the end and listen back to it, or in kind of like think back through it, everything makes sense and
It
everything
does.
is there. But oh boy, it's kind of rough going through it, the proper direction. I think if there's a failing in terms of the writing, it's that, and maybe I'm wrong about this, the mystery set up is kind of unguessable. Like, there are aspects that are absolutely guessable. Rena being almost dead and destroyed. Of course, that's the case. Of course. But the Volrin stuff, the Alphen stuff, uh, I just don't think there was enough there for the audience to play along with. And I think it was mostly a case of we didn't want you to know before we told you.
I feel like the. I feel like so okay. So I skipped over this, but you learn that Alphen is 321 years old because he was alive 300 years ago, and then something happened to him where he had to be in like cold sleep for 300 years, and that mask on him was like the reason why his like memories were like suppressed. Um, I don't. I think they could have taken the whole Alphen being 300 years old out and still have and it actually yeah I don't think that really served much of a purpose.
That the only purpose that serves is to allow Volrin to exist. Remember, if he's not 300, or if he's at least if he's of this era, Volrin can't exist.
I mean, he could have existed like decades apart because like they have this contest like every 10 years.
Alphen is the reason for it, though.
Yeah, Alphen
Or
is.
he's
Well,
one of the.
he's not the reason for the contest.
No, I will argue this. Actually, he is. The contest did not exist during his time. It's because of what happens with Lenegis and the failure to get the astral energy that they now have to slowly but surely do the crown contest in order
Yeah,
to get the energy to Rena.
I guess. I mean,
So Alphen being 300 isn't important. This could have been any arbitrary number. I grant you that.
yeah,
But he did need to be old enough, older than he was at least, in order for Volron
yeah.
to be here, in order for that section of the story to make any amount of sense. And I still don't care for it. I guess it does, but
Yeah, I didn't care for it either. I thought it was just a thing that was just like, whatever. He's 300 and something years old. That's not really
yeah,
important.
it's unimportant. I mean, it's. I'm sure there's other things that have happened, like this. Lord knows, Final Fantasy 13, 3, Lightning's like 200 years old or something. Everyone's 200 years old because time just lost all meaning, right?
Yeah,
So that's really not the worst thing. He's someone displaced in time. That in and of itself is a neat kind of like character narrative. Fine. It's a shame that it doesn't matter
mm.
because he is not actually displaced. Everything is fine for him. He's not getting used to this new, more modern world. He doesn't have a sense of being an outcast aside from his mask. And even then, everyone kind of loves him. So
yeah. I I think Alphen and Volrin are the only like the only things that weren't really guessable in this game. Because I could have
yeah.
guessed Rena being Danon's. I could have guessed that
Of
easily.
course. Of course.
Brenna being fucked up is honestly a Tales trope. Like
Yeah,
the
like
other
if
world
honestly, it would have
being
been a
screwed up.
bigger surprise if it was fine.
Yeah. Because like in Zillia 2, the Elysium, Elysium is not fucked up, but like on the verge of not being like good. And that's the same with I think Graces as well. The other world in Graces isn't exactly a good place either. So in Symphonia you had the stuff going back and forth. So yeah,
Mhm.
usually the other world's not as good as the world we start on. So that was
Yeah,
easy.
I, I do genuinely wonder why they bothered with the second half, but I guess it's a Tales trope. So that's fair. I think
Yeah, it's an extreme
narratively for
tail trip.
me, this game is just kind of too slow, or at least focuses on aspects
They
that
do,
end up kind of being unimportant.
they do too much exposition in the second half. Like there was like no exposition in the first half, and then there was way too much in the second half, in my opinion.
That's true, absolutely. And especially that becomes an issue when the first half, really even just the first half of the first half, is where everything that was sold to the player base was.
Yeah.
So it feels
So
strange that they then had a second story to tell, being the story that they clearly wanted to tell, but not how they wanted to sell the game.
I feel like this game could have been 2 games.
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely.
This game could have you could have cliffhanged this game at Volrin.
So no, well, Jesus. I mean, you could have. I would have been. This game would have dropped several rungs if they had done that.
But on the premise that there was going to be a sequel.
Yeah, if they fleshed out, but that would require them actually fleshing out everyone in the first half, which they did not do. It's the
Well,
reason why
yeah,
the first half is so weak. Um,
yeah, because
I
Shion
find
doesn't get
this
fleshed out
game,
until after.
and even then, it's not great unless you're Volrin. I find that this game has a villain problem in that every single villain sucks. They're all bad. What is fine about that is that the crux of the issue, the problem that is to be solved, what you're fighting against and fighting for, has nothing to do with these people. Your whole idea is breaking down walls, defeating racism, and bringing equity or at least equality to Dana.
Yeah,
And maybe helping the Renans that are on Lenegus now.
yeah,
And it's very much a good thing that that is the important bit, because if people were important, like if this was like Velvet v Artorias, this game would suck.
yeah. Because there's no clear defined villain in this game. It's a bunch of villains that you don't get. You don't even get story. You don't even get like stories for it until you hit Lenegus.
40 something hours into the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I see. I liked some of the villains in like the little arcs that they had, but obviously I wanted to know. Actually, the only villain I actually really liked was Almadrea. I think she had the most. I'm actually a villain energy.
Almadria, yeah. Well, I don't think Almadria was actually all that much more impressive than
Well,
the
she was one
first two.
dimensional.
She just had like the big evil scene, right?
Yeah.
She had that big evil scene where she actually did the big evil thing, where Balsef and Ganabel didn't have that. They were just
No.
implied evil by the world and people's reaction to the cities they lived in.
Well, she was more. She was
Whereas
just more fleshed
Almadria,
out than the other
we
two.
literally see her kill people,
Yeah.
and not an insignificant amount of them.
And not only that, you actually got like tidbits of what she is about before you even meet her, and then even after you meet her, like through
Yeah, she's a scientist.
all the
She's a scientist
supplemental
mage.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Supplemental stuff.
she's well. I wouldn't call her well fleshed out. She's fleshed out multiple times, which is more than we can say for
Yeah.
Lord 1 and 2.
She's more fleshed
less-
out than the first two.
Exactly. I don't know though, man. Like, so there's this weird disconnect between the world, the story, and the characters.
Yeah.
And the disconnect is just the level of writing that went into them. I don't think this is actually a character-driven game, and that's kind of problematic because the characters are easily the strongest part.
Yeah, no,
This is a world-driven game.
world-driven game. Yeah.
And the characters, all from one degree or another, if you're not in the main party, suffer for it. Unless your name is Zephyr. Zephyr has an incredible amount of writing for someone who's only in the opening hour.
You know what my biggest problem with Zephyr is? All right, I looked at
He's
Zephyr.
dead.
I didn't see. Well, yeah, I didn't see Zephyr when I looked at Zephyr. You know who I saw? I saw Dogi. Because he's
Wow.
literally Dogi. He's literally Dogi. He's voiced by Dogi.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover. But so I'll put it like this. Zephyr and the playable characters have such great writing. Zephyr, I think, genuinely might have the best, like, mythic quality about him, which is weird because what he does is not nearly as interesting as Alphen. But he's venerated so quickly by
Yeah.
everyone who meets him, or everyone who meets someone who met him.
He's a very charismatic guy.
He is. He's great. It's a pity that he died. I still think that's unnecessary. But then you have the main cast, all well fleshed out. And then you have the lords, who are not. And then you have the freedom fighters, who also aren't, but
Yeah.
they play more into the world. So let me really quickly say this. We'll get to the main party and Zephyr soon. I want to kind of close out my thoughts on the lords, and I'll let you say whatever you'd like to say on them.
Mm-hmm.
I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it a billion times. The lords are pretty lacking, and I really don't know what else to say. Lords 1 and 2 are, they have, what you see on screen is what you see, and there is nothing else to them.
Yeah.
They are not men of depth. There is no nuance.
You're just told that they're evil and you fight them.
They try for that in a quick subquest at the end, but that's a bunch of people whose opinions you can't really trust anyway. So
Yeah.
they are what you get. Almeidre is a bit more fleshed out because she's clearly a woman of science. And this is very clearly a man's world, to the point that they're called lords. She's not Lady Almeidre. No. She is a lord.
They make it apparent that to give you, the problem is they should have done what Almeidre with the other lords. They should have given you some supplemental like area to go through to maybe learn a little bit more about them. Yeah. Or maybe give you an idea of like what type of character, what type of person this is.
And they kind of do. Since we're doing spoilers, I guess I've been trying to avoid it, but there's no reason to. Balsef is what you get. Is you get what you see, and that's fine. He is clearly the wild. He's called me the wild beast. He's not very difficult. He's good at fighting, and because he's good at fighting, he's a military leader. That's it. Mm-hmm. Ganabelt is a deceiver. He rules from the shadows. Literally, we meet him under the guise of the leader of the rebellion.
Yeah.
Which,
by the way, he looks like Gilbert.
Yeah, he kind of does. He's not as wide, but there's a lot similar there. Almeidre's a woman of science, and Volrin we see 3 times before fighting him. Or 3 times before meeting him in his locale. Volrin is the only one who is built up. I still think, however, Volrin falls on his face. Yeah. They clearly want Volrin to be a character like Sephiroth. He is this force of nature. He's not a person. Who he is as a person does not matter. He is a fight first and foremost. He is overwhelming, and he is steadfast in his singular belief. Mm-hmm. And I think that's awful. I don't even think it works for Sephiroth. I think we're meant to think of him the way we think of characters. I'm going to continue with Final Fantasy comparisons. Characters like Cypher, like Kain. They are these they are these full characters, top to bottom. They have a whole background that you can pull from and elaborate more on. But they're also antagonists, and you fight them. And you're super interested in why things are happening this way. And he doesn't get that. Even after it's explained that he is what Alphen is. Just 300 years later, he's the only one since Alphen to have that power.
And you get no backstory on him at all.
and he's just some crazy dude who's really good with a sword.
And that wants to fight you.
Like, there's also the revelation that he's not Renin, despite being
Yeah.
a Renin lord, which is the first clue that Renins are just Danans. And it doesn't matter, because he's so bad. Because he just wants to fight. He's lustful for a fight with Alphen.
Yeah. They also make it very clear that they kind of wanted Volrin to be the final boss. And in a sense he is, but
He is.
but that you can't lose that fight.
I agree. I mean,
You cannot.
maybe you literally can't. I don't know.
You probably literally can't. I mean, you probably can. You can get your health all the way down. But anybody playing this game, there's no way to lose that fight. If you're actually trying, there's no way to lose that fight.
I think there would have been room if they pulled a trigger they were hiding a little bit earlier. I think Volron is savable. I think if they just let the Great Spirit be Volron, it would have been fine.
Oh yeah. Actually, honestly, I thought that's what was going to happen.
No, he wasn't interesting enough. No, the way he was talking.
I literally thought, like, when he jumped down there, after you beat the Great Spirit and he grabbed the Renis Alma,
yeah.
I thought he was literally going to suck up the Great Spirit, all right, and put it inside of him, and then you were going to have to fight, do a boss battle with him. I thought that's honestly how it should have been wrote.
I agree. I think, but I wouldn't have saved it till the end. I would have put that in the fourth section of the first act. I would have had you get there. I would have had Volin explain exactly what he is. Say he doesn't give a shit about the crown contest. I'm a Danin. I was stolen away. I'm exactly what you are. Only unlike you, I'm going to kill everyone. Because none of this matters, and I'm a nihilist. And if I had to suffer like this, everyone burns with me. And then we would have won, and he would have immediately been taken over by the will of Dana. And then the whole second half of the game would have been you pursuing Volrin as he amasses all of this and is the sovereign.
Yeah.
I would have just let the story that we were led to believe, the crown contest mattering, exist as that. He would have been he's the last standing lord, so he wins by default. He goes to Lenegis, he is crowned sovereign, and then the Great Spirit can just do the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any reason for what they did. By the way, Lee, since you're unfamiliar with the game, have we lost you anywhere?
No. I'm just quietly listening.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had any questions.
You dislike how the bad guys are written.
Yeah, they're not very good.
That is very clear.
Yeah, the Great Will is also super lame, and I think doing this, establishing the Great Will to a character that we see and I wouldn't say care about, but we could physically give a shit about, would have been better than Ruby Weapon. But
we literally fight the Ruby Weapon.
Really, that's funny.
Yeah, he literally looks like the Ruby Weapon. And...
So if there's a lot of character development, or at least there's no there's problems with the backstory or the lore, how would you improve this?
So I'm happy you asked that. I don't think there's anything wrong with the world building of the lore.
Yeah, or the characters.
I think there's a problem with the execution.
I was referring about the characters, not the world.
Yeah, okay.
There's no problem with there's not really a problem with most of the characters outside of the enemies.
Okay. Well, this is in context and what you were just talking about.
Yes.
So how would you improve that?
Literally, I would cut the second half of the game down by half and put more of it into the first half.
Yeah.
I would expand the role of Lord. I would make it more than just a case of do 2 quests and then run directly into their castle. I would have had them do things and say things in public so that we could see how each individual section of the world is handled. Like, for instance, we know Balsus a tyrannical creature that just rules on power. His soul just go around. Literally, once you're not useful, your body goes on to the fire so that your spiritual energy can get soaked into the planet.
Yeah.
I would have seen him do that. I would have had him say, well, It's fine.
Off to the pyres.
You can't lift anymore. You can't push anymore. You can't work anymore. It's fine. I understand. You're useless to me. And I would have had him pick someone up and throw them into the fire. Ganabel, I would have had him personally overseeing large chain gangs walking to the tower where they would work the light fields.
Yep.
Because that's his thing. He's actually the hardest fight for being the not fighter of the lords.
Yeah, he's literally the hardest fight in the game.
He's the hardest fight, far and away. I would have had him. I would have had him there overseeing it. I would have used his body double as a fake assassination target by the party, so that we could see his brilliance. Go like, you thought you got me, but now you're tired, and I know who you are. And that's where I would have had Zephyr get caught.
Yeah.
Almadria is fine. I would have just had things that we were shown happen slower and more often. I like that we found a secret lab. I like that she was doing experiments on Zoogles. We have not covered Zoogles. Zoogles are the monsters of the world, and they are creatures taken from Dana, experimented upon to be loyal, like war creatures for the
They're literally just monster hunter monsters.
Exactly. So she does that. That's her job. She's a scientist. She's also a very competent mage who killed Rinwell's family. Yep. And they apparently were no slouches, so she's also incredibly powerful. I would have shown that. I also may not have had her die the way she did, but don't think that's actually too important. Also, is it me? Was she implied to be in love with Volrin?
I don't know.
She seemed like she really was into him in that last 5 seconds before she died.
It was either that or she I guess, just viewed another Renin Lord as, like, a friend.
That doesn't check out.
But, I mean, there's also another thing. All of the Lords don't converse with each other. They're part of a contest at the moment, which is to be the next Lord of Renna.
Ganabelt and Bosif that have that one back and forth via holophone in the game, and that's it, right?
Yeah, they have no contact with each other, so you never see them interact with each other. You never see them like being like, well, you know, we're Renins, like, all together, ha 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 ha.
I don't know that I would have done that, but
actually, the most interaction they all have in the game is a sub-quest you get at the end of the game where you have to fight them all.
It's true, and technically that's not real, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I would have had them be people. I would have had them be horrible people, but I would have had them be people and not just a fight at the end of a tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yo ho ho, your master core is in another tower.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think it would have been stronger for it. I think the story on Dana is way more interesting than the story that's going on Renna. Mm-hmm. I think the story on Renna is good for a quick twist and done. Do not dwell on it.
Except that was 30 hours of the game.
Except that was 30 hours of the game.
Yeah.
I should also mention that my only issue in this regard is with the Lords. And I think I've been very negative for this, but if we talk about the playable cast, or not just the playable cast, the heroes, I thought they were amazing. This is going to probably cause some fuss amongst people that hear me say this. This is the strongest cast. There are stronger individual characters in other games. Sure, I will absolutely agree with that. But as a 6-person unit, this is the strongest one.
I personally don't agree, but that's like Dalit said before we started. It's like it's really subjective, honestly.
Yeah, it's super.
Because I personally enjoyed Berseria's cast more than I enjoyed this cast.
That's my number 2.
So
it's 100% my number 2. So fair enough.
Yeah. But that I felt like Berseria's cast interacted with each other better than this cast did. And honestly, that could have been rectified if, like, I guess Xion didn't get her character development until like the end of the game, and even then it wasn't very good.
I think a character development at the end of the game is pretty par for the course when it comes to Tales. I think most Tales games make that seem more impactful by having it happen in the first third or maybe the first half.
Yeah.
I think the
But I think at
comfort
that
with
point
which
there was
people are
just
around
story
her
bloat.
didn't last as long as is usual. And I think that's
Yeah.
why it feels iffy.
I will hand it to Bryce Papenbrook. This is probably his best role.
I mean, secondary hot take, Law's my favorite character.
And Dalet's wrong on this one, but yes, this is Bryce Papenbrook's best role, and that's saying a lot because Bryce Papenbrook is in 12 billion thing.
Yeah, I had to see through my bias for this as well. I don't particularly like Bryce as an actor, but I think this role was it's like JYB and Nero, right? This role was kind of made for him. Like there's
Yeah.
he's a petulant brat at the very beginning, and he has to kind of grow up a little bit. And he only grows up a little bit, but a little bit is enough for him. Or I guess he grows up quite a lot, but all at once.
Yeah. So since we talk about story, if you had to give a number of 1 to 10 for the story, what would you give it?
For the story, like a 7,
Characters?
8, almost 9.
Okay. I would agree with the story. And I guess I would give 8 for the characters. We both enjoy the world building, so that's like a 9.
Yeah, the world's super strong. The world deserves this game to be made into 2 games, so it's coherent, and a third game that shows what happens afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How
about this world's great.
How about side content and whatnot?
Oh my god.
There's so much.
Okay. So the
my
subquests in the game throughout the storyline, all right, are pretty god awful because they're just the same thing over and over again. Fight a Zoogle.
Yeah, this was quantity over quality.
There's 70 subquests in this game. All right. Now it is sprinkled with a couple of other subquests. Like there's a guy you run into that wants you to find ingredients for him to make these recipes, which is a pretty funny subquest. And actually, it's funny in the fact that like Shion's a big part of it because she's like really into food. By the way, the joke is that Shion is an endless vacuum of a stomach and will eat pretty much like 12 helpings of potato salad.
This is the second time they've done that, though, right? This because Mila was the same way.
So
it's
Mila
less apparent with Mila because it's in a couple of one-off side jokes where it's almost like a quarter of Shion's personality.
The problem with Mila is that like it made sense for her to be so into food because before Zillia started, she had never ate before because she had never needed to. The spirits gave her her sustenance.
It's true. It's true. I just found it funny that the 2 games I played most recently, both the female leads had this thing for food.
Yeah. Shion, literally, like, they make a joke because she will, like, obviously you never see her with, like, gigantic plates of food, but, like, she literally talks about, like, creating, like, a 12-course meal for herself, pretty much.
Yes. I also like that the joke isn't that she just likes food, but that she also is maybe
very
not
skinny.
her goal, but no, not that. She kind of by accident she ends up becoming a really, really good cook.
Oh yeah.
It's not a big thing. This isn't like character making or breaking, but I do like that it was just we're taking this one character motivation of she really likes to eat, and we're gonna do some fun stuff that builds camaraderie with the crew through it.
But no, the majority of the side quests are kill Zoogles. There's one quest where you have to collect 32 owls that are spread throughout the land, and then a couple more show up when you hit Rena.
I'm not going to put a hard and fast number on it that you should take me at what I say, but I'll say that there are realistically probably about only 20 different subquests that matter.
Yeah.
And about 50 subquests that are literally just go do the thing.
Yeah.
I know this because for about 30 or 40 of them, I didn't actually do anything. I'd already done the thing. I just gave over key items. I was like, oh, cool. That's free experience and skill points, I guess.
I like that because so people that don't go around the world and like picking up stuff and like collecting all this crap or fighting enemies, they didn't get rewarded by going up to the quest that you're about to get, all right, and then saying, oh, well, you need to go back here and fight the Zoogle. There's a Zoogle in a cave between Calaglia and Cyslodia that you can fight on the way to Cyslodia, and then you get the quest to fight that Zoogle. But if you've already beaten it, you're like, oh yeah, I already took care of it, and you're like, okay, well, it rewards you for exploring. This game does.
True, I will give you this. This is absolutely accurate.
And I actually enjoyed that. There are quests where Zoogles don't spawn until you pick up this quest, and then it's just like, okay, well, you need to go to this one area to kill the Zoogle. It's wasn't annoying. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna kill another Zoogle. What other stuff?
I agree. I also carried that kind of mentality into it, and it wasn't boring because the combat's so damn fun.
Yeah, the combat. So we'll go back and hit combat. Combat's a 9 or a 10 in this game.
Absolutely,
it's so good.
So good.
And it's very challenging on hard. Like Dalit played on moderate, but like I played the entire game on hard mode, and it is extremely challenging and very worthwhile to go and do others like side stuff to like help build your characters up more. I didn't do that, and so I had a lot of challenge, and I used a lot of fucking items in this game. But
I played it on moderate. I did all the content. I'll be honest, the game was super easy for me, with the exception of like 2 fights.
So I mean, I didn't go around grinding. I did all the side quests that I ran into. But I didn't grind up anything. I didn't like try to farm for any like gold or anything like that. By the way, actually my biggest problem is that you don't get gold from fights.
I understand this. This is something that's been tried before, and under the assumption that, well, a bunch of wolves aren't going to have any money on them.
And I understand that.
I always get it when games do this. But, yeah, it makes item drops super important.
And items in this game cost like 2 to 3 times as much as they normally do in Tales games. Which is ridiculous. I've never had to pay like 9,000 gold for a pineapple gel.
Oh, I routinely didn't have any money because everything went into life bottles and pineapple gels.
Yeah. So that was a little bit of like, I guess, artificial difficulty on it, which you can easily subset if you sat and grinded.
Or if you were me, because I don't think it made the game more difficult. Because my party was made up of Alphen, Shion, Dohalim, and Phil, whoever I wanted in that last part.
Mm-hmm.
More often than not it was Rinwell.
Yeah.
She's so strong. So yeah, I didn't have any problem staying alive, but I did go through CP pretty quickly.
Yeah, I didn't have Dohalim on party for quite a while until you were like, yeah, if you just have Dohalim in your party, it's double. I'm like, yeah, I guess
you have 2 healers and 2 raises. It's fine.
And then the second part of the game, like after you get the second opening, I swapped to Rinwell, and I didn't have any problems at all. Because Rinwell's
so strong,
absolutely broken in this game. It is ridiculous. The only person more broken than her is Alphen, and that's because Alphen can take his whole HP away and one hit a boss, pretty much. So yeah. So combat easily 9. I would say 9. If I was giving it like a decimal number, it'd be like a 9.4 or whatever, because 9.5s round up to 5 or round up to 10.
That's fair. If we're gonna use that logic, yeah, I agree. 9.4.
Back to subquests. There is 2 subquests near the end of the game or / the end of the game that are actually pretty. I wouldn't say like cool. Actually 3 subquests. I wouldn't say like they're pretty cool because one of them is fighting the rest of the spirits, Gnome, Sylph, and Undine.
You didn't like that?
So I don't like the Gnome or the Sylph. Like the Sylph fight's cool, like visually it's cool, or whatever. But I don't like the way they set up like the Ifrit and the gnome and the spirit and the sylph fight. I don't like fighting adds the boss. Is what it is. There's no, you don't actually fight gnome. You fight stuff that gnome spawns, or you don't fight you kind of fight sylph, but that's only like in the last like bit where you're hacking away at the chunk on its back. And you don't fight Ifrit at all. You fight the things the Ifrit spawns. I don't like that type of fighting. It's like turn 4 in Final Fantasy XIV. That's a boring turn in Bind and Coil.
Fair enough. I didn't have that notion, but fair enough.
Like if you fought the ads and then you had to fight like gnome, that would have been like better. Or if you fought the ads and then you had to fight Ifrit.
Yeah, it's because this is the whole reason why you're not lumping Undine in with them.
Yeah, because Undine you actually fight. You fight a slime, or you fight Undine drop, or whatever, and then you fight Luo Undine. You actually like fight Undine, and honestly, while that fight is easy as hell, because you're actually fighting the person and not fighting like 12 billion enemies, then but that one just feels better. I like actually fighting the enemy instead of fighting what the enemy spawned.
That's fair. I didn't really have an issue. I kind of treated it like a raid fight or something. So, because they didn't look like Ifrit, Undine, Sylph, and Gnome to me, I was like, okay. Even if I did fight you, you'd just be big creatures that are in the game anyway. I see what this is. This is a raid battle. I have to be smart.
The other quest that I actually thought was cool, but I like when I first got into it, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to do all this. Is the boss rush subquest where you have to fight all 5 lords. That includes Dohalim.
Yeah, that was wild.
And then you fight the 4 evil lords in a fight altogether, which is even more wild and scary because Ganabelt's fucking scary.
Just kill him last.
And
just do what I did. Don't kill him first.
And then after that, you fight Zephyr, who is actually the highest level boss in the game.
Scary fight. Yeah. What is he? 99? 100?
No, he was 100.
He was 100. Yeah.
Yeah, because not even the final boss of the cameo subquest is 100. So yeah, Zephyr was a scary fight because pretty much he just one hits everybody. His punch literally just fucking kills you. He's literally one punch man.
I mean, yeah, his fight is scary, but now that I've stopped and thought about it, if you're well prepared, his fight is the least likely you're going to wipe on.
Oh yeah, no, easily. What?
Yeah,
well, I mean, even the individual lords fight, you're not going to wipe on because you've already beaten them before. It's just the same fight. It's just you're doing it all in a row.
If you mess up, Almadria and Ganabelt could still do some serious damage. I don't think anyone else could kill you, but I think those two in particular have big AoE abilities that if for whatever reason your AI decides to be in a bad spot, you can go pretty wrong.
That's fair.
Zephyr he doesn't have that kind of AoE ability.
No. He just runs up and punches you.
Don't get me wrong. When he punches you, you die.
Yeah.
But
or he teleports to you and punches you. By teleport, I mean he does like a snap punch, or not a snap punch, but like a that fucking move, that gap closer in 14.
Shoulder charge?
Yeah, shoulder charge. Shoulder tackle, actually.
Shoulder tackle, you're correct.
Yeah, he literally does that to you, and you die. It's scary in that part, but yeah, he's also the least one you're gonna wipe on. And if you've gotten through the previous fights, him being level 100 isn't gonna be a big deal because everybody else is just 5 levels under. So I actually liked that one, and it was a bit nice because it was some extra character development for Law, and it felt like if it was weird because it's a simulacrum fight, so you're fighting like a simulacrum of all these characters, but the Zephyr fight actually like felt like you were like it was Zephyr, it wasn't a simulacrum. He was just like, I'll see you again at some point in time. It was really cool.
he was pulled from the memories of both Law and Alphen. And if you play the game, Law and Alphen spend like the whole game mythologizing this man. So it makes sense that at the end of the game, Zephyr has something very important to say that resonates with the both of them, because it's essentially them telling themselves through this image of their father figure what they need to hear.
Yeah.
But
that was my
since we're on the topic of Zephyr, can I bitch and moan about Zephyr really quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Zephyr's the best character in this game.
Yeah.
Full on, straight up, he's the he's from
that's a lie.
moment one.
That's a lie. There's two other characters that are better than him. There's two other characters that are better than him, but that's neither here nor there. That's the next subject.
Okay.
Go ahead.
For me, he from moment one, he's fully realized. He's the father figure. He's the leader. He's a leader of men. He is a competent warrior. He has all the red flags that he is definitely going to die.
And
so naturally, he dies. And it broke my heart because there's no reason for him to die. He was never going to travel with the party. He just wasn't going to.
No.
He had too much to do in the two areas he was present in. And in the second area, he was beat up. He wasn't going to be able to travel. But he is still an inspiring figure for the little people who we as a party do not interact with.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, like, I've argued with more than just you about Zephyr's death and how it didn't need to happen. And yes, for Law, his father dying is a big motivation for him, and for Alphen, this father figure dying is another motivation for him. Sure, but the motivation didn't have to be his death. It just had to be him passing along the spirit of his leadership to them as they go on a journey. Leaving Zephyr behind to deal with the little people who we are not going to allows us to have this NPC figure who is memorable, who is believable in a position of leadership, and who we can go back to and have those moments that didn't quite feel genuine from Alphen or Law, where they spoke very confidently about this thing that they admitted they had no knowledge on.
Yeah.
When those two characters are lost, how easy would it have been to go, well, you know who would have the answers? Let's go back and talk to old crippled Zephyr, leader of men, riser of spirits, speaker of good words. He doesn't need to be the same Zephyr that he was at the beginning. The man got stabbed in the back in the most literal sense. Maybe he's paralyzed. Maybe he's just whatever, bedridden. He's in a position where he still leads and can still be this charismatic figure. And he brings up all these smaller characters who we don't care about. Who's the leader of the Silver Swords? Who's the leader of the Crimson Crows?
Nobody.
Do you remember their names?
I think
no, of course you don't.
I think Nyeth or whatever is leader of the
he is de facto leader of the Crows right now.
Yeah. But I don't know about the Silver Swords.
Yeah, but having someone there who you do remember to attach these characters to would bring them up, in my opinion. Also, I'm just so tired of everyone in this game's reason for doing anything being the death of a family member. Jesus Christ.
True. Everybody's motivation
is it
death.
most
yeah,
everybody's motivation is death.
Zephyr is Law's father. So his death directly impacts Law, and because of where we are in the story, he's also a father figure to Alphen.
Yeah.
So boom, there's that. Miguel is Kisara's brother. His death motivates Kisara and doubles down on a previous death that motivated Dohaline.
Mm-hmm.
Rinwell's whole reason for being is because Almedria killed her whole family.
Man, she wants revenge.
And she wants revenge. Shion is the only one who isn't motivated by a death in the family. She's motivated by, and since we're talking about spoilers, a want to fucking die.
Yeah.
Death is the only motivation for these characters, and it fucking slays me. because the motivation for Law and Alphen could have been growth. They could have used Zephyr as a point of reference, and it would have been nice to have someone who meant something to the main cast alive to speak to. But I guess that's just not a thing that happens. Only motivation for these characters, and it fucking slays me. Because the motivation for Law and Alphen could have been growth. They could have used Zephyr as a point of.
There's like a subsequent story going on in like these areas. It happens in Berseria, happens in Zestiria, happens in Zilia, happens in happens in all other Tales games. This is the only Tales game where you're not made to go to a city again because of something happening or whatever. Like, you have to pass through Cislodia again, but that's literally just to find your spaceship. All right, and you're not. There's no subsequent quest of there's something happening in Cislodia and you need to help them, and then you get to do something. What they could have done with Zephyr is keep the death flags or whatever. Obviously, this character was meant to die at some point in time, but after you meet him and he gets stabbed in the back and everything, have him like heal just fine. All right, but he needs to take care of these two areas. He's one person, all right? He's not going to be able to take care of all of the realm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right? Have him be like, the caretaker of Calaglia and Cislodia, all right? And while you're going to liberate the other areas, and then something happens in Cislodia or Calaglia, and you have to go back, and like Zephyr's there, and you're like some like big things happening or whatever. And then, Zephyr could have sacrificed himself because Law fucks up at some point in time and he's about to die, and then fucking Zephyr's like, "What's up, bruh?" And then takes the proverbial knife for him. All right. They could have written it like that. All right. Well,
it still plays into my bother with everyone being forced to move through a death.
Yeah, but Law's not motivated by the death. He's motivated by making his father proud or whatever, and traveling with, Alpha and helping them.
Sure.
Go through that, and cause obviously, before the game even came out, when I saw Zephyr or whatever, I didn't even know who was Zephyr. When I saw the Dogi character, I was like, this guy's dead.
Because he's not on the playable cast, so you knew he was gonna die.
Yeah, this guy was 100% going to die. When I saw him be in your party as a non-playable character, I was like, this guy is 100% going to die at some point in time. However, but they could have pushed that down the line. They could have pushed that down the line and had so many other things, but no, they gave him a shitty death too. They gave him a really shitty death.
It really is super ignoble.
And I'm just like, oh, come on, man.
He literally gets stabbed in the back and dies.
And we'll talk too much about Zephyr. Zephyr's a great character. He's the third best character in the game. All right.
I'll allow it. I don't know who the first two are, but I'm sure it'll make sense when you say it.
Yeah, I'm gonna shift over to my favorite part of this game. All right, which isn't even the main story. All right. It is the cameo subquest of this game.
You're cheating.
A little bit. So in every Tales game, there's a cameo quest, all right, where they bring back other Tales characters or whatever to do some one-off little storyline. Sometimes it's not even a storyline; it's just an EX dungeon you're going through, and you just randomly fight Kratos for some reason. I'm looking at you, Vesperia. So you get this quest from this guy. He's saying there's some weird readings in this other area or whatever, and you go back into the gnome dungeon, because the spirit temple for gnome is this big dungeon or whatever that you go through.
Let's be specific here, because it's going to play into what you're going to say. It's the Earth Temple.
Oh, it's the Earth Temple. Yes, actually, yeah, that actually works. That actually, I didn't think about that. You're clever.
No, it's very important that be specified.
Okay, it's into the Earth Spirit Temple or whatever, where you fight gnome, but you teleport all the way to the end, and you talk to this Renan scientist who is researching this weird temporal rift or whatever. And he fucks up at some point in time, and he goes, "Oh, my keys just flew into the rift, but I only have this one key." And so he's doing this research, and he's like, how about you guys go in there and see how bad it is and see what's up or whatever, and see if you can find my keys and all that stuff. And you're like, okay, whatever. So the first key you get is called the Key of Destiny. All right. So that immediately tells you, oh, I'm going into probably a Tales of Destiny world. All right.
Happy you thought that.
I'm the
I
Tales
didn't think
guy
about
here,
any of
so
this till well after.
I'm the Tales guy here, so I saw Key of Destiny. I was like, oh, there's a game called Tales of Destiny. We might be going to a Destiny world. So I've never played Tales of Destiny, but I assume that the place that we are in, all right, is some underground cavern or whatever. And you're in some underground cavern. You're going through. You're fighting a bunch of Zoogles or whatever. It's all nice. Anybody that's played Tales of Destiny will recognize this place. And that's cool. But you get to the end of the area, and before the cutscene starts, whatever, you can see somebody standing in the middle, and all you see is a parasol. All right. There's only one character in this entire series that carries a parasol with them, and her name is Edna, and she's from Tales of Zestiria. So you walk up to her and you're like, "What's up?" And she's like, "Who are you guys?" I'm like, "What?" She's like being coy. She's being Edna. Whatever. By the way, she looks damn good in UE4. This game, that Zestiria needs a UE4 update, please. So she's being really coy with you. Your characters are like, "Can you give us a straight answer, please?" And she's like, my brother's not here. But this place is really weird and all everything. And they're like, are you gonna even answer me? And she's like, there's only one thing we can do. You fight me, and then maybe I'll answer your questions. And then so you do. You fight her. And it's pretty. She's not hard, but she does a lot of damage. Her Mystic Art's pretty easy to dodge, and by dodge I mean you just walk out of the way. And you fight her. She answers your questions. And then she decides she's going to stay behind in this area to look for more, because she's searching for her brother because for some reason she's like, she feels like her brother's like somewhere near. All right, but she gives you a key, and that is the key of Symphony. All right, which in my brain, unlike Dalet's brain, it's like, oh well, there's only one game that has the word symphon in it, and
my
it's
brain doesn't have
Tales of
enough
Symphonia. Tales of Symphonia. So you go out of the rift, and you go back into the rift, but you click, the symphony, the symphony rift. All right, and you're immediately thrown into the Elven Forest, which is an area where you do a 1v1 against Kratos. Unfortunately, you don't do a fight against Kratos in here, which is very unfortunate. I forget what it's called, but I don't know. I think it's just really called the Elven Forest, but it could be something
I have no
else.
idea. I just know that's where you fight Origin, which is what
Yeah.
I recognized on my second run through that area.
Yeah. This forest, the funny thing about this forest is, if you remember playing Symphonia, which I specifically do because I did this like 2 months ago, in that forest you have to go a specific route.
I was
all right,
so angry.
to get to the end. All right, and they did the same thing in this game. You had to go a specific route to get to the end, and the only way to get to that specific route was if you went to the doors that had a stump and butterflies flying to the right of it. All right. Did you notice that, Dalit?
No, and I haven't played Tales of Symphonia since like 2005.
Anyway, so you do that. You get to the end, and there's a big Zookle at the end. But at the end there is a headstone, which is the headstone of which Origin is at. So after you do the 1v1 against Kratos, he's like, okay, well, now I'm going to summon Origin for you, and you have to fight him to be able to control the sword. But you fight the Zookle drops the key. The next key is the Key of Abyss. All right. In my head, unlike Dalet's head again, we're going to a Tales of the Abyss area, and you do. You go to the snow-capped mountains and it's not called the snow-capped mountains, but it's a snowy mountain area in Abyss. And I'm pretty sure it's specifically the place you fight the secret boss Neblum at. And you go up there.
So.
You don't think so? I mean, you fight Neblum in a snowy area because they're from the town.
Oh
Yeah, you
shit!
fight.
Do we? I remember fighting her in an underground area.
No, you fight her in a snowy area because like
Fair enough.
her Jade and Dist are from that that town in the snow.
Yes, correct.
So you go there, you go to the top. You don't fight Neblum, unfortunately. You fight another Zoogle, and you get the key. You get the key of Zest from the Zoogle. All right. Again.
This is where I finally started catching wise.
Yeah. Key of Zest means okay. There's only one game called Zest. There's a game called Zestiria, and people call it Zesty Lemon Fresh sometimes. So, you
Do they?
yeah.
A couple of them.
Well,
apparently.
Allie
This was
does.
news to
Allie
me.
does. Allie calls it Zesty Lemon Fresh.
Oh yeah.
And so you go into that, and I screamed as soon as I got in here because they put you at the Rayfalk Spirit Crest, which is a specific area in Zestiria.
Sure do.
And this area looks fucking amazing.
It looks
right.
so good.
I immediately said, I need Zestiria to have a fucking remake now. Because they couldn't possibly get the equipment system wrong again with everybody saying this is a shitty equipment system. And obviously they have the anime to fucking update the story. So, yeah, I would very much like a Zestiria anime. Or a Zestiria, a new Zestiria
this
remake.
particular zone was so good, even I, who have not played Zestiria, knew immediately what I was going to find at the end of it.
Yeah. So, you go through here, and at the end of the area, at not the top of the Rayfalk Spirit Crest, but pretty like close to it or whatever, you run into Eisen, one of your characters in Tales of Berseria, and Edna's brother. You tell him that you've ran into Edna, and he's like, "Oh, well, I guess I got to get out of here because I don't want her to be subjected to the Reaper's curse." And they're like, "Are you just gonna do the same thing Edna did? Like, talk in circles or whatever?" He's like, "What do you mean?" It's like, well, I mean, she like had to fight us or whatever. She wanted to fight us and all that stuff. He was like, "So you laid your hands on my little sister?" And we were like, he's like, "I can't forgive you for this, and you're gonna pay the price right now." And so you fight Eisen. Again, Taliesin doing his best work on this character.
My goodness, he just sounds so at home on it.
He's a little scary because his mystic art is bloody howling, and he goes up in the air and slams down like darkness or malevolence
He's scary
at
if
you.
you're playing Alphen.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was playing Runwell, so I just stood in the back going, "Holy Lance, Holy Lance, Holy Lance, Holy Lance." Then you fight him, you beat him, then you fully explain, and he goes, "Oh, okay, I understand now." So she forced you guys to fight her, and we're like, "Yeah." And it's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna give you this key, and yeah, I'll see you later." And so you leave out. The key is the key of the Scarlet Knight or something like that. And if anybody has played Berseria, they know what a Scarlet Knight is. So you go to the Scarlet Knight Rift, which is immediately Mount Killerhouse in Berseria, which again looks really good. And I would need Berseria to have a fucking remake, please. You go through there, and you get to the top where you fight Melchior in the game, and there's Edna and Eisen together, and you have to fight them. Or actually, you have to fight them because Eisen's like, "So my little sister told me you ganged up on her all at once. It was on a 1v1.
You rushed her as a group.
You rushed her as a group. I wasn't letting you guys off the hook anyway. But now you're really going to pay the price." And so you have to fight them together. That fight's a little scary because I never want to fight those two together ever. But it's nice to see them together. And fucking Namco, they listened to the people. The people wanted to see Edna and Eisen together, and we finally did. It was really great. And so they're like, "Oh, well, we know this rift is going to close really soon, so we're just going to we're gonna stand here and talk to each other, and you guys go do whatever you want. Here's a key," which angered me a lot because the key said the key of Vesper. Now, there's only one game with the four note of Vesper, and it's Vesperia. But it doesn't take you to Vesperia. It takes you to the giant baby fetus in the sky, where you fight yes.
Wait, what?
Yes. So
Oh, okay.
in Xillia 2, you fight the god of space and time, Kronos, or the great spirit of space and time, Kronos. All right, but his area is a giant fetus in the sky. It's like a moon. It looks like a fetus, and that's the area you fight him at. And so yeah, you're in Xillia 2. You're in Kronos' lair, and you fight Kronos. He's the biggest disappointment of this game.
God, yes.
Kronos is a boring individual, even in his own game. And
am I missing something? Is there a reason they would choose this character for any reason?
They only chose him because he fits within like a space and time rift.
I mean, but did they need them to? Neither Edna nor Eisen really fits in for any other reason than Earth Elemental.
No, so I think the Earth Elemental thing was just a known, was like that just, I think, coincidence. Not real. I don't think it was their plan.
All right, I might be reading too much into it.
The only reason Kronos is there is because it was a space and time thing. But yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite side quest. That's my favorite part of this game. And subquest is like a 7. If there was more things like the 3 aforementioned ones, it would probably be like an 8. But yeah.
Yeah, none of the subquests were chains. They were all just standalone things, with the exception of the particular boss rushes, which I'm even going to count the cameo as.
Yeah. Anyway, overall, I can't in good faith say that this isn't the best Tales game.
Because it is.
Because it is the best Tales game.
Just because of recency. I can say if they remade any of a few certain past Tales games, this one would fall short, in my opinion. But yeah, in that regard, I agree with you. I think this gains a lot of strength by being modern. It has modern writing, modern localization, modern graphics, modern combat systems, and that is stronger than I think people who are going to say this game isn't the best realize.
Yeah.
Like, once you take bias out, I just don't see how you can look at this and say, yeah, no, objectively, this is the best one they've put out in a while. But like you say, if they were to, using these concepts, remake some of the older titles, I could see Destiny, I could see Abyss, I could see maybe Symphonia overtaking this. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, sorry, Leak. I'm sorry.
Hey, why?
Because we went on far too longer than we should have.
No, this is the segment you both are wanting to talk about and are more knowledgeable about, because I did not play the game.
Do you have any questions?
But no apologies needed. I did ask throughout. Well, I asked a couple anyway.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any other questions needed to ask?
No, I don't. I do not.
All right, well, let's pop off of this. It was a good time.
Yeah.
It was just like, it's a very pretty game. It's written in a way that is coherent, and I enjoyed it. But we have a certain other game to talk about. Matter of fact, we have something else we might have to cover first, though.
Yeah. There is something we have to cover first?
There might be. I don't know. Did we have a question this week?
Oh, no. I don't think Little gave us a question.
That's
I didn't
fair
see.
I'm sure he was just waiting to hear this.
Yeah, he was. He was just waiting to hear this. I don't think he. I put. Oh, hey, actually, we have a question. Fuck. I checked like 2 hours ago, and we didn't have one.
Enjoying the video? Remember to like and sub. Helps out the channel a bunch, and we're grateful for everyone we get.
Okay, he asked what's our favorite part of Arise. I think we've answered that already. And secondly, what were you most hyped about the live letter? So we're about to get into that. 14 had a live letter this week.
Yeah.
Oh, it sure did.
And quickly enough, do we want to watch the video?
Yeah, go on then. I'm up for that.
Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna
I have
pop
watched.
over to
I have
this.
watched the live letter. I've watched the video. I've watched memes of the.
Oh yeah. All right. We're gonna watch the job action trailer, which came up from the live letter, live letter 66, and yeah, enjoy. We
This
can talk
anime-
over this. We can talk over this. Yeah, this is really good.
Yeah, they've got this down to a science. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty.
I love this motif.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing to see about Dragoon is that now it now has a 4-part AOE AOE flipping combo.
More for Nick to
out-
learn.
Yeah, they took out Blood of the Dragon though, which is interesting.
It's a
Oh, yeah.
trait now?
Yeah, Blood of the Dragon's a trait now, so you don't ever have to worry about losing it, which you
Yeah.
never did at level 80 anyway.
That saves a lot of issues here. Well, they
Chaos.
are like globally removing a lot of buttons too. Which
Yes.
is good.
That one move, I forget what it's called. I think it's like a riding thrust or whatever. It got an animation update, and the big one right here is this twin dragon gear Skogul.
Yeah, it's cool.
It looks great.
Yeah.
And they added in the pull down animation, so that's good.
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, we have a
Yeah.
full
This
set now.
package.
Yeah. Okay, this warrior made me laugh.
Why did Warrior make it laugh? Oh, because he turned into Sonic.
Yeah.
Nyum.
So how many onslaughts can you do? Oh my god, there's a big one.
Well, yeah, I think it's a charge now, and then it doesn't use
Yeah.
it doesn't use gauge anymore. Yep, onslaught. Spell cleave.
Spell
Spell
cleave, yeah. And a big
And
spell
spell
cleave.
And now we're Sonic.
Yeah.
It's so good. I like that the tanks get to be flashy.
Red Mage has
Speaking
gotten
of
even more
flashing.
supporty.
Which is good.
Yeah. That was in the game. That's been in the game. So big thing to notice here is that the melee combo doesn't take as much anymore. Or at least that one doesn't.
Which is good.
There's
Yeah,
the
good
big
for
shield.
the AoE.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that the Flare, Holy, and so on are AoEs now.
Oh yes, I've
That
been
is
asking for that
good.
since we got them.
It was weird that they chose these AoE moves to suddenly make single targets.
Yeah. And then there's upgraded Scorch and a big leap.
It's so cool looking, that animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
And then here's the meme of the show.
Like,
Now-
I mean, it's hard not to get where people are coming from. Scholar has never been known for it being a dramatically interesting class to look at. So for them to essentially get Peloton, but in combat, as the big reveal it's
Yeah.
rough.
Look at that Peloton in combat, boys.
Now, don't get me wrong, if someone cues that up in combat, I'm gonna love it because it means positioning gets that much easier.
So
but-
another thing too is like one point was brought up like Scholar is like a tactical like battle
Yes.
position type of thing, and it was people like, why is he running up into melee range? What's he doing? He's supposed to be at the
That's
back,
fair.
commanding the battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Dark Knight didn't really look like it got too much. There's some couple of extra things, but not too flashy. They have like a different type of Blackest Night now.
Is that what it is?
that a
'Cause I'm
shield?
unfamiliar with Dark Knight. I haven't enjoyed it, so I haven't been playing it.
Well,
oh
the
yeah,
first
this
shield,
is free.
the first
Pretty
shield
free.
that they do is the Blackest Night, but then there's another shield that they do that they put on the White Mage, which is like looks like it's like the Blackest Night, but
Okay.
It's probably just. I wonder if it serves the same purpose. It's just a Blackest Night you throw on someone else to get your MP back.
I think it is. Oh, wait, because you could put right now you can put the Blackest Night on somebody else.
Oh, I thought you had to eat the tank buster. Well, it doesn't
No.
have to be a tank buster. I thought you had to eat the damage.
No.
Oh,
you
okay.
can target somebody and put Blackest Night on them, and they eat damage, and if it breaks, you get the MP back.
Okay, so that gives them off tank stuff. I didn't know.
A lot of people are thinking it might be the change that here's fucking Dancer Blue Phoenix.
Yeah.
A lot of people are thinking that the Blackest Night thing is going to be how Sheltron Intervention works now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did hear this.
So Red Dancer looks a bit more supporty, but I mean it's like the most supported
They have new
important job in the game.
actions after technical finish and improvisation and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definite. All the guns.
I was so
Shotgun?
happy about fucking shotgun and then what looks to be kind of like a sort of chainsaw, sort of. It's like a
Yes.
scissors or whatever.
It is at
yeah,
least
it's a
called
chainsaw.
chainsaw.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a chainsaw gun, pretty much, where it shoots chain blades or saw blades. There you go. Yeah.
And Queen gets a new thing too, which is nice.
Queen gets a Mega Fisto. So yeah, Machinist. It was super fancy before, still fancy now.
There's some really big Gundam movements there too,
Yeah.
or it's like night
Oh,
frame movement.
my tank of choice. My blue DPS.
Gunbreaker's now has 3 bullets.
Yes, it threw a trait, which is excellent.
Yeah.
Though honestly, I'm probably gonna regret not having that when I level sync. But what are you gonna do? I feel like that for every class.
Well, I mean, at the end it shows that you have a spender that uses 2. And
Yes.
you probably don't have that unless it's in between level 80 and level 90. Which would be like the only reason to have 3 cartridges anyway. That move right there. Bard, the least interesting looking class.
It's true. As a bard, I have no problem saying this. Bard never looks very interesting. They dress us very awkwardly, which doesn't seem to be true this time. I kind of like what I'm seeing. And then we just kind of do what's expected. We do not have unique abilities off song, which is going to be interesting to see if they mean actual unique abilities or if it's just the song allows for a certain group attribute.
Each song adds a party-wide enhancement action, says the Reddit.
Yeah, but I'm not quite sure what that
And a new
means.
action after Apex Arrow.
Yes, which we just saw. The group
Yeah.
arrow.
And you can spend the song after you do all 3 songs and spend them on like,
Okay.
a party
You can
wide
spend
buff.
it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Astro looked flashy, like they always do.
Of course it is. They
but-
put the stars on the moon.
Yeah, true.
People seem to be relieved that Astro Legend seems to be better now. Seems to
Yeah.
be. 'Cause,
I don't know. So when they say better, what do they mean? Because I didn't give this class a second
It
thought.
was dubbed to be one of the weaker out of the healers, basically.
So, it's not that it's the weakest out of the healers. It's that it's the most uninteresting to play because actually Astro does
And
the most damage.
people didn't like what they did with the cards.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was something that came up during our watch.
yes.
They finally gave Samurai Tsubamegaishi.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I believe was that move.
Yeah, all this new stuff does look cool when it gets into it.
Oh yeah, the doubling up especially.
Yeah, because I think all the
Blinds eye.
jutsus now have a charge. Either that or they're giving more charges to Tsubamegaishi.
Yeah. There's 2 for Tsubama and Meikyo.
Yeah, that's right.
And then this move right here. This move looks so cool because it's like your fucking sword gets electrified.
Yeah.
And then the super Midare.
I
Yeah, it's
I
like a mini
really
limit
feel
break.
that looks better than that limit break.
Yeah. And White Mage is now a
It looks
a shaman.
so good.
White Mage is now a shaman.
Yeah,
Flower
like a
totem.
healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little totem. And watch the lilies as well, because they
Oh,
don't seem
okay.
to be spent.
No, yeah, they're not being spent. Well, they don't do Rapture or this person doesn't do Rapture or Solace.
You do like throughout your rotation. You do tend to, and some heals as well. Also use lilies.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. Rapture and Solace use heals.
Yeah.
Use lilies, but they
But
don't use.
It seems like
they don't
everything
use
is going
lilies.
fine with just this totem, which is interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if that means you can use those moves without using a pure lilies while it's active.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's
or
a
at least
good
it gives you
catch.
more. At least it gives more options for healing or
Yes.
doing whatever too.
And
that's
And
Ninja looks
Ninja
good
looks
catch.
really cool.
Ninja became
looks really
Sasuke.
cool.
Ninja became
It's
Sasuke.
yep.
Yeah.
They're just continuing to do their job of looking really, really neat.
Actually, wait, no, never mind. Ninja is Kakashi, not Sasuke.
Kakashi, yeah.
Yeah. This move looks really cool.
That's
and
so
then-
cool.
And then Raiton into a Raiton charge into Chidori. Or Lightning Blade.
Schwarzmancer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been keen on this job, if I'm honest.
Yeah, me either. But it does look cool.
I'll
They
tell you
have
what,
a-
its
they have
animations look amazing.
Yeah, they have like
Yeah,
a,
it's got
a
more
fire,
booms.
a fire ice move. Now.
Yeah, more single target and AoEs.
There's the fire ice move.
It looks so cool.
Yeah.
And I think this is Despair here, but I'm not 100% sure.
Freeze.
That's Freeze. Or no, that's not Freeze. That's Freeze.
Oh, so it is. Yeah. Huh.
This is either Meltdown or Fire 5.
That would
That's
be
the
in
move
flame
that,
rotation.
That was the
Yeah.
move that Y'shtola does against Emmett Selk.
And now we begin the fouls.
Foul and Xenoglossy.
It's intact, tell you what. Ah, Hainu. Sorry, Sage.
Gundams.
They're primarily a barrier healer, just to note.
Yeah.
So
Ah,
They
okay.
they also
that means
heal
I'm
when
not
they
gonna
attack.
be playing this class.
They also
it's
heal when they
applying.
attack.
There you go. It applied the barrier to the tank there.
Yeah.
So
initially.
does it always heal on attack or just during special?
So you can designate something to a certain character. So it's like Sinistry, all right? So
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so-
There
so-
you go. That's more what I was
you
looking
use
to
it
hear.
on that person, and then when you start attacking it, it starts healing that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah,
more what I
it-
was looking to hear.
It has a gap closer.
Then it has two.
Its gap closer
two,
looks amazing.
It has two AOE, like close target AOEs.
Mm.
Now Monk looks like Dragon Ball.
I was so excited by Monk because just because of the thing it does soon, like with switching targets. It's-
Yeah.
Is Lika Monkman again?
I'm playing Monk on an ult, yes.
Yes. Very good.
It looks so snappy.
I am happy
Nice
they got
Phoenix
rid
attack.
of Grease
Yeah, see that
Lightning.
phoenixy type like
Yeah.
effect. Oh, there he goes. My
Zoom. No, my biggest thing is I'm just so happy for all people who play monks that they got rid of Grease Lightning. That was an obnoxious thing to keep up
yeah.
during big encounters.
That was a Tifa move. That was Star Shower.
Yeah.
They have a couple of Tifa moves, actually.
Yeah.
Now Summoner, I think,
Oh,
stole the
yes.
show.
Yeah.
Of
I
course.
think.
They legitimately were given more time because they had so much to show.
I think the whole reason that this video is like 18 minutes long is because they had to show off everything for Summoner, and
Yeah.
since they did that, they had to show off everything for every other job.
Well, they didn't show off everything for every other job, which is impressive.
Well, they showed off pretty much everything for every other job.
Hmm.
Everything new that was needed.
Yeah,
there's
like this mechanic where you, after your first rotation of Bahamut, you get access to you essentially become Omega Weapon, right? Or Ultimate Weapon, rather.
Well,
That's fantastic.
yeah. So they lied about one thing, actually.
Oh?
They said Summoner doesn't have dots anymore. That is a lie, because that thing that is put down on the ground with the Garuda is a dot.
I suppose so, but I think they mean like in this case it's that's a visual thing too that you can see on the the battlefield.
God, after every attack, you get the Titan slaps.
Yeah.
It's really
Here comes
good.
Ifrit.
That reminds me
Ifrit
of
was
the ninjas,
interesting.
like, yeah.
Oh, they're, what's it called? It's not Huton. Doton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Gap
All I know
closer.
is that Summoner
It's a
has
book
no longer
And
has
gap
Bane.
closer. Another
Yeah.
gap closer.
It's very important. We're all going to need to be point blank for AoEs in the raid. You can tell that because everything has a gap closer now.
Yeah, gap closer and a book smack.
But yeah, Summoner no longer has Bane. Can Bard get that, please?
No.
Reaper. Yes.
Now Reaper did look really fun,
God, the animations are so good.
and the fact they could teleport too, that was interesting.
That was a surprise. I guess it's just a gap close with a flashy animation, but it's so cool.
But it's actually
You
not
can go
a
back
gap
to
closer.
it.
But it's not a gap closer because you can teleport away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get your own repelling shot.
And then you can like teleport back to it. So it's used as a like as a type of thing to like, oh, let me dodge a AoE real quickly and then dodge back in.
Yeah, I wonder how that's
So,
going
like,
to be used. People are going to use this in a
Dodge
clever
out,
way, I think.
AoE.
Just imagine during like raids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll pop out of the point blank because they're melee. Do a ranged attack and then pop right back in. Oh, and then you get the avatar summon. Or the avatar state, rather, and it's so
Yeah.
good. It's unfair that they have access to all these new animations.
It's so good.
They're so good.
Oh, actually, I saw a few folks popping off about Paladin too. They're excited about what happened.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it turns into Gilgamesh.
Turns into Agnes.
Oh, Gilgamesh. You literally unlock the gates of Babylon, rain down sword.
All I'm saying is you're literally the boss
Yeah, I
Agnes
know.
from the
Yeah.
Dalmaskin
Yeah.
24 man. Look at that.
Confetti 1,
So cool.
Confetti
So
2,
cool.
Confetti 3,
So cool.
Confetti 4.
Finale.
So good.
Paladin has a damage rotation that isn't locked behind Requiescat. I think,
Well,
right?
you know, Confetti. No, Confettier is Requiescat.
Well, never mind, guys. I lied to you. I'm sorry.
It's what's going to change
I'm
is
just a
that
dumb
you're not.
breaker.
What's gonna change is that you're not gonna holy circle spam or that one magic attack move.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
you'll do that like once, and then you'll immediately go into your confetti combo. But yeah, that was Job Action Trailer, which was honestly the best part of the live letter, even though there was a lot of juicy stuff in the live letter.
There really was. Holy crap! I feel so bad for Yoshida, and I'm assuming Foxconn as well, because they're going to have to do this reliably for the next little bit. This is a 6-hour interview, essentially.
Yeah. And they have so much stuff because the media tour is coming up soon. Everybody on Twitter has just announced
there's lots of announcements now. Yeah, about
that they're going to be in there.
Lots of
and
people.
He's got 70 interviews with media and influencers, and he's gonna have to say the same thing over and over and over again. I guarantee. I mean, actually,
he'll be well practiced.
With the influencers, it'll be okay because all of them are like close, either like friends or like close enough friends or whatever that they normally pull together that their questions, and they'll be like, okay, you know, like Frosty's obviously gonna ask stuff about like, you know, PvP and all that jazz, and you know, Happy's gonna ask more general questions, while you know, Sly's gonna ask a lot of Dragoon questions and all that stuff. Ethis is gonna ask lore questions, you know, all that jazz. If Ethis is involved, I don't know if Ethis is involved or not. But that was the Job Action Trailer, which is really good. They showed off the Endwalker login screen, which is ballin'. You guys saw the login screen, right?
Yes, very good.
I did. It's so pretty.
It's the best one. It's the best
really
one
does
by
make
far.
Me wish that the login screen for Shadowbringers was us actually tearing open the sky every time.
Oh yeah, that would have been really cool too. My second favorite login screen's now the Heavens War one. My Heavens War one was my favorite one. For a while, up until this one. Because I just like the music and the snowy background of the Heavensward one. So now this one is my favorite. So
I agree on both.
I have a list of stuff here, which is actually slightly kind of long. Is there anything you guys would like to actually talk about coming out of the live letter? This Reddit post is actually pretty in depth.
I definitely think we do not need to be the people that go over the job change.
I will say one thing. I'm worried about teleportation prices, so I will 100% be keeping up with hunts because I need those tickets.
Those teleport tickets, absolutely.
It looked like the max at the moment, it looked like it was going to be about 1,500 to teleport, depending on where you were.
So I have 400 teleport Aetherite tickets stacked, and I know this because I recently started playing again.
People do your Blue Mage weeklies, because you get a bunch of stuff that you can get your teleportation tickets out of that, and do hunts.
Oh really?
Yeah. If you
I didn't know about Blue Mage.
I also did not know about Blue Mage.
If you do Blue Mage weeklies, you get a bunch of the seals to buy the teleport tickets. Happy says that all the time. Happy does it he did it every week, but now he's got like 14 billion Aetherite tickets, so he doesn't really need to.
Yeah. And I was interested to see the basically the inventory space saving tactic they're going with this time is removing some HQ items.
Why did you go into detail on that? Because I don't know what you're getting at.
Well, simply it says in this Reddit, I'll just read this. Certain items no longer obtainable as HQ, i.e. gathering mats, enemy drops, token exchange mats, non-craftable mats.
Excuse me, did you say gathering mats no longer HQ?
Yeah.
Thank the gods.
And that will save a lot of inventory space.
I don't need to memorize bloody minor rotations and botany rotations. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So I guess they might be rebalancing crafting? Suppose.
Well, at the moment, high quality items didn't really matter to most crafters at endgame, because
Okay.
you didn't really need to. Like
Yeah, but
Evan
it
said it
does
all the
matter
time.
every time a new raid comes out.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
But not anymore. I guess not anymore now.
But you can make high quality items, for example, crafted items and gear.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So the high quality items will still stay. It's just the materials that won't be needing
Yeah.
won't be needing high
That's
quality.
right.
But like if you got your crafters like slightly geared and max level or whatever, there's an end all be all macro you can just do that will always make high quality items. So I guess that's one of the reasons why they're taking that out, because high quality like materials really weren't needed if you were actually like crafting.
Mm-hmm.
Because Evan, every time I made Evan do something, he was like, I don't even need high quality. Just I hit one button and it's automatically high quality item. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it did just end up being a gate for people who weren't fully leveled.
Yeah.
And one thing that caught my eye as well was Unreal Trials temporarily removed, and they'll be back in patch 6.1.
That makes sense.
Which trials now?
Unreal Trials. Yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense. Because they have to. So they're going to be doing it at level 90 now, so they have to go back and like
rebalance.
Rebalance everything, especially with the number squish that's happening this expansion as well. Which they had to reiterate once again that you're not getting weaker. It's just smaller numbers. Everything's going down a percentage all around. This is like the fourth time they've had to explain that, because people are just like,
it's not even
power.
That people don't realize it, that they're re-explaining it, but by continually saying it, you normalize it.
Yeah.
So like this more than anything, this repetition will make sure that come the opening salvo that weekend, there will be the least amount of people who drank dumb fuck juice and say, but my numbers though. Because everyone will know.
But my power fantasy though.
Exactly.
They talked again about belts. They're removing belts. So you don't have to worry about it. They did mention, because there were a lot of people that were wondering about speed belts, which is a thing that you get in Eureka that gives you a lot of haste. They are going to be allowing you to turn in your speed belt for a speed ring in Eureka. So for people that have that, because you had to do a lot to get a speed belt in Eureka, and they didn't want to make people's like time wasted on that.
Yeah, that's good. There's no punishment there. That's good.
Yeah. They will be delaying data center travel, because obviously this game is doing far better than they expected, and because WoW's doing far less than what people expected WoW to do, and so everybody from WoW has pretty much jumped over, and all of Aether cannot be accessed to any new characters because it's congested. So their server structure is hurting right now, and they can't very well do the data center travel because they want to at least open up server space and make it more stable. Because at the moment it's stable, but it's not like it's getting put on fire pretty much at the moment. You know, USHP is just suffering from success and all that. Yeah. So that's getting delayed. There's no time frame on that. They might do a beta at some point in time within the next couple of months, but there's no actual word on that. People were expecting them to delay it, so that's a good. It's good that people expected it. What else was there outside of like job changes? They said that PvP will be in the next live letter. Frosty was really sad.
Speaking of, have we continued our PvP endeavors?
Oh yeah, Lee.
A little bit, but like I'm super casual still with it, so like front lines only.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey, as
I
long as
just
you're
been mainly
punking
doing
down some
roulettes with
kids.
friends. Hey?
You gotta punk down some kids, man.
Yeah.
Shows them.
Well, I missed the feast. That's going to be taken out, isn't it?
Yes,
Yep.
supposedly.
Yeah.
That's a little unfortunate. I mean, hopefully what they put in is pretty good. I think we'll go over the overall job adjustments. We won't go individually because they obviously went through like every single job. But the overall job adjustments were the recast time for primary abilities will be adjusted to align 60 or 120 seconds. So that means your 90-second abilities are going to be either made 60 or 120, just to align it up with every other job. Tanks using defense buffs at optimal times will grant greater benefits. They didn't go into real detail. Range attacks will no longer break combos. So if you were in the middle of like a combo or whatever, and you needed to like cast Magic Circle or whatever, it would break your combo. Now that won't happen anymore, which is really good. Physical and magic damage are going to be partially balanced. So they obviously didn't go into really too much of a detail on that one. Feint was just an ability that you lowers the physical damage from a boss for like 10 seconds. It's now being changed to reduce physical and magic damage, but more physical damage than magic damage. Range attacks will no longer break combos, and physical magic damage are going to be partially balanced. Physical range DPS, same thing as physical magic damage is going to be partially balanced. Party-wide defensive skills are going to be adjusted to 90-second CDs. So stuff like Shield Samba and what did Bard have? I know Tactician from
Christ. I don't remember.
Bard had one of them. But Tactician from Machinist and Shield Samba from Dancer, that's going to be going to 90 seconds. Magical range, Addle is getting the same change as Feint, except it's going to be more magic damage than physical damage, but it's gonna reduce both. Healers are going to get new actions for single target buffs for each healer. Each healer is going to have a single target buff. They didn't say what type of buff, so that either that could mean like an HP buff or like a damage buff, or like, I mean, regen is technically a buff. So, I mean, who knows? Offensive spell cast times are going to be reduced to 1.5 seconds, so that means you're going to be able to glare a lot faster, which means you're going to burn through your mana a lot faster. So, white mages, beware. And the LB AoE range is being increased to 50 yalms. 50 yalms is pretty much an entire boss arena. So that's good. And that's it for the overall job adjustment. I don't think there's anything. There's new HUD they're adding new categories to the HUD layout, which is really good. They're taking a page out of people that use the Final Fantasy XIV launcher, the mod launcher, because you're allowed to update you're allowed to like mod your HUD to certain ways. So they're adding in new categories. Improved ground targeting, so stuff like Shikuchi and Salted Earth, as you saw in the job trailer. Salted Earth had a new animation where it actually just hits the ground where you're standing. So I don't think you actually have to target to use it. Oh yeah. So new target. So you have a new target character configuration. You press the action button again to place target circle. Or you prevent cursor from moving beyond the ground. From target range. And I mean that's pretty much it. They're changing the rewards from earlier raids to match the same type of reward structure from for Eden's Gate. or like the whole Eden tier, and that's pretty much it. Like, there's no like, I mean, obviously there's job adjustment. There's like really in-depth job adjustment details, but pretty much anybody listening to this probably got all that from somewhere else. They did Aetherite UI map design, redesign as well. So you can actually, when you're in a town like Ul'dah, you can actually click on your map and click like the certain sections on your map to teleport to those Aethernets without actually going to an Aethernet. Yeah, I think that's about it. Do you have anything you wanted to speak on?
When's it out yet? Is it out yet? I'm really,
is ENDWALKER out yet?
Yeah, come on.
I'm in the middle of leveling my Scholar, and by leveling my Scholar, I mean using Scholar to level my Summoner.
Level your Summoner? Yeah.
Yeah. I did 2 dungeons like before this podcast, and I was like, man, I really hate playing Scholar. I really hate it. It's so bad. But yeah, that's everything out of the live letter. Outside of like specific details. This was more of an Arise cast than it was a Final Fantasy 14 cast, but yeah. I am sorry for that, for everybody that wanted to fucking talk about 14.
Well, I mean, the topic's not going anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
What are we doing next week?
Oh, that's a good question.
Next week there's nothing big happening. There's nothing big happening in this week. I mean, I'm playing a new game this week, but
gasp.
Yeah, actually, I'm playing 2 new games this week, and by new I mean new to me.
Well, do tell. Completely in the dark.
Completely
okay.
new?
Well, Sly convinced me to get Super Robot Wars X before we do our podcast later on next month.
Oh, okay.
Because he wants to hear my opinions about it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Sly is also extremely excited to do this because we're all Super Robot Wars babies, and he's bringing a lot of source material.
We love you, Sly. Ooh. If you ever want to just talk at us for something, let us know.
Yeah, exactly. And
cool. This is like class. Yeah, I'll be learning things.
I'm finishing up Hajimari no Kiseki. Yes, after a year of me not playing it, and being in the final chapter. I'm in the final dungeon.
Are you sure?
So, well, it's the final story dungeon, but there's more Reverie Corridor stuff you have to do after it, because you weren't able to finish the Reverie Corridor before doing the dungeon, because it like gated you. So you have to do the final dungeon, the story dungeon, and then go into the Reverie Corridor and complete it. And then there's actually some DLC that it expands upon that. So technically, yeah. But Kuro no Kiseki comes out next week. And I wasn't going to get it at launch. And then I watched that opening, and I was like, I got to play it. So
it does look very good.
Yeah. I'll be doing that this week. I'll be going through Hajimari, and then next week grabbing Kuro, and then like I gotta order Super Robot Wars X for my PlayStation because it's not on Steam, but 30 is on Steam, so I can just pre-order that on Steam. What about you guys?
After you.
More Final Fantasy 14, and I might actually go ahead with playing more of Odyssey.
It's gonna happen. She's gonna do it. She's gonna kill all those bounty
run
hunters.
Away.
She's gonna Malaka. She's gonna Malaka.
I will be also playing.
I am a Malaka.
That's a mood. Yeah, so I restocked. I'll also be playing 14. I want to get all caught up, and depending on time, this will be the first relic weapon I don't complete if I don't run through boss share.
Yeah.
So I might just do that to have it, because it feels weird not completing that content. But also, I've seen the Bard Bow. It's just, You peaked in Heavensward, I guess.
It peaked very hard in Heavensward. It's like literally the best relic ever.
It's still my glam, so.
I mean, and it's still always going to be your glam.
Probably, honestly.
So you not getting the Shadowbringer's relic is going to be, you don't really need it. And you can do it at any point in time, to be fair.
Yeah, except that's what I said about finishing my White Mage staff way back in Heavensward. I've still not done that.
Well, man, that's that sounds like you problem.
Yeah. That's why I say it. But yeah, I might just pass on it. I might, or if like I'm feeling froggy, I might go grab a different relic just because I don't care about the Bard one.
Just grab the Dancer one because you're going to play Dancer too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I will play Dancer as well, though unfortunately, much like with Bard, they can only do so much with the Dancer weapons. We just have I've chosen classes that have very boring weapons, is what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
If I were to do one, it would either be Gunbreaker or, I say Dragoon, but I wouldn't actually run through on Dragoon. It'd probably be Gunbreaker.
I'm going to play
my triple weave, though.
My triple weave. I'm going to play Endwalker as a Paladin, so I've already got my relic for Actually, I've gotten a couple. I've gotten a White Mage relic, a Paladin relic, a Dark Knight relic, and I think I'm technically working on my Samurai one. But not really because I'm leveling up another job. But I'm leveling up Scholar to level up Summoner so I can do my role quest for Summoner. So I can do the final role quest at level 80. But I just really hate casters, man. I don't care about playing the job. I just want the role quest done.
That's fair enough. You are actually missing a hell of a bit of information.
Yes.
I mean, you know it, but in terms of having it in the game.
But yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing this week. Sorry for anybody that didn't want to hear Tales of Arise spoilers, since that literally took up like an hour. But when I get on a topic, I'm known as the tangent guy that will stay on that topic forever. But yeah.
Yep.
Well, we will figure out what we were doing next week.
That we will.
Yep.
Till then, we'll be good.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Before you go, remember to like, comment, and sub to us. Not only does it help out the channel and let us know what you're into, but it also makes you 100% cooler than everybody else. I checked with Aqua. It's definitely true.